Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next game in the 1987 American League replay. We're starting the May 24th block. First game on the May 24th docket is going to take us to Fenway Park as we try to work east to west. Chicago White Sox taking on the Boston Red Sox. Chicago comes into the game 19-19. Boston comes in 16-25. This is game number 285 of the replay. Starting pitchers are Bob Stanley for the Red Sox and Jose DeLeon for the White Sox. A couple of right-handers had so-so years in 1987. Well, Bob Stanley had a bad year. He was 4-15 with a 5.01 earned run average. So that's not going to help his cause any. One thing that will help Stanley, though, is he has a -4 pitcher-catcher quotient with Rich Gedman. He's a -3 hold and Gedman's a -1, whereas DeLeon is a +4 hold and Carlton Fisk is a 0. Not that Boston's going to be running a whole lot, but they will have the advantage because of that +4. So you never know. Certain guys on the Red Sox might try to take a chance and steal a base with that +4 going on. We'll get the game up on the computer and get this ball rolling on this Monday morning. Hopefully you're all having a good Monday wherever you are, start of your week. This was actually a Sunday in 1987. It was a Sunday day game in 1987, May the 24th. All right, so Bob Stanley on the replay is 1-3. Didn't write his numbers in here. 1-3 with a 6.59 earned run average. And as we showed earlier, he in real world was 4-15 with a 5.01. 42 innings pitched, 60 hits, 13 walks, and 25 strikeouts. So not exactly top notch there for Bob Stanley. But hey, he's Bob Stanley. What do you expect? All right, so Darryl Boston will lead off for the White Sox. Boston on the replay is hitting .325. 5 homers, 16 runs driven in. He hit what did he hit in real world? He hit 258, I believe. Let's get Stanley up here. Darryl Boston hit, 258 real world. So on the replay, he's hitting .325. He's having a very solid start to his season. Hello, Jeff, and hello, Rick. Good to see all of you. And Jeff, that is some good coffee. Won't lie, that is some good coffee. And you got to have it on a Monday morning to play Strat. That's just the way it is. Hello, Dr. D. All right. So we are ready to go. Darryl Boston, Bob Stanley. Underway, 2-8. Struck him out. So Stanley gets a strikeout of Darryl Boston to start the ball game. Good start for Bob Stanley. Here's Fred Manrique. Manrique's hitting .240 on the replay, a homer and 7 driven in. He hit .258 real world. That's a 3-9, and that's a split chance. Only a 1's a hit. Everything else will be a line out to short. So Manrique lines it to Spike Owen for out number 2. So Stanley off to a good start. 2 quick outs, and that brings up designated hitter Harold Baines. He's hitting .267 on the replay. Homer 8 driven in, hit .293 real world. 110, and that's a ground ball right back to the mound. And it's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Bob Stanley. Couldn't be any easier. The ball never left the infield. So at the end of half an inning to play, it is Chicago 0, and the Boston Red Sox will be coming to bat. Facing right-hander Jose DeLeon, who was 11-12 with a 4.02 real world. On the replay, he is 4-4 with a 5.22 ERA. 50 innings pitched, 45 hits, but the 36 walks, that's where he gets into trouble. 36 walks in 50 innings is not going to do much for you. Does have 53 strikeouts. Ellis Burks will lead off for Boston. Burks on the replay hitting an even 200 and just 85 at bats. He had .272 real world. 2 homers, 8 driven in. It's a 2-7, and he's going to strike out to start the game. So much like the top of the first, the bottom of the first also starts with a strikeout. There's Marty Barrett. Hello, Chuck and Tim. Good to see all of you. Marty Barrett hitting 288, no homers, 6 runs driven in, hit 293 real world. 612, and that's a ballpark blast. And in Fenway Park for right-handers, it's a 1-10. That's a 4, but Barrett has weak power both sides. He only had 3 home runs real world, and they're accounted for on his own card, so he cannot get them on the ballpark. He will get the single, though. So Marty Barrett will get himself a 1-out single, but because of the lack of power, he does not take advantage of the ballpark blast at Fenway Park. Hello, Bart. Good to see you. But he will try to take advantage of the +4 hold from DeLeon. So he needs a 4 to get the lead. He does not get it, so he will hold. And here comes Wade Boggs doing Wade Boggs things. He's hitting 346 on the replay, 9 homers, 19 driven in, at 363 real world. That's a 3-5 for Boggs. That's a single, 2 stars, and all of a sudden, Red Sox have runners on the corners with only 1 out. And Don Baylor, the batter, designated hitter. White Sox playing back for the double play. They figure there's going to be a lot of runs scored in this game, so they're not worried about cutting off one run in particular. They need outs. 3-7, and that's a 1-18 single. That's a 16, so base hit for Baylor. It's a 1-star advancement for Boggs. He'll stop at second. Scoring is Barrett. Red Sox lead at 1-0. That'll bring up Mike Greenwell playing right field in this game. Dwight Evans is on the roster. He's not on the injured list, but he hasn't played in like 3 games. So I think he's got some kind of day-to-day thing going on. I'm not sure. But according to the roster, he's available to pinch hit, so I will use him to pinch hit if need be. Mike Greenwell hitting 375 on the replay, 8 homers, 19 driven in. He hit 328 real world. Havoc roll, nothing happening. 1-5, and that's a ground ball first base. That'll be a 3-6-3 double play turned by Greg Walker and Ozzie Guillen to get out of the rest of the inning. Limit the damage to 1 run. At the end of 1, it is Boston 1 and Chicago 0. From Fenway Park, historic Fenway Park. Or as they say in Boston, Fenway Park. All right, so Greg Walker, who started that double play, that nice 3-6-3 double play, will lead off the next inning. He's been struggling in the replay, only hitting 218, 3 homers, 14 driven in. He hit 256 real world. It's a 3-6, and he's going to ground it to second. Marty Barrett all over it, 1 away. Hope everybody had a nice weekend, whether you like football or just relaxing, whatever the case may be. Carlton Fisk is your batter. He's hitting 278, 4 homers, 16 driven in. Hit 256 real world. 6-9. 6-9 is a single off of Bob Stanley, first hit by the White Sox. It belongs to former Red Sox Carlton Fisk. As he gets the base hit, Fisk not going to be held. And that'll bring up left fielder Jerry Hairston getting a rare start in this one. Usually he's more of a pinch hitter. He only had 126 at-bats real world on the whole season. On the replay, he's had 13 at-bats, but he is hitting 385, a homer and 3 driven in. He hit 230 real world, but I got a feeling that 385 is going to average out once he starts getting more at-bats under his belt. He is a switch hitter against Bob Stanley. That's a 6-5, so against Stanley on the left side, it's a fly ball to center. Ellis Burks is there, 2 down. Morning, Kathy, and as you can see, I have the official equipment needed for a Strat replay in the morning. So Hairston flies out to center field, and that will bring up Tim Hewlett. Hewlett is hitting 270. Look at this. This is interesting. On the replay, in 143 at-bats, he's got 4 homers, 15 driven in. He's hitting 217. Real world, he hit 217, so he's right on the mark. Will it stay that way? Probably not, but just kind of neat that it is right now. So here is Hewlett with 2 outs and Fisk at first base. 6-6, and that's a fly to left. Hauled in by Jim Rice, and that's going to do it. Bob Stanley, 2 shutout innings. White Sox still trail it 1-0. Jim Rice will lead off for the Red Sox. On the replay, Rice hitting .315, 3 homers, 19 driven in, hit .277 real world. Very good, Kathy. We look forward to that. Top of the third, trivia question. Get your thinking caps on, fellas. Get your baseball trivia mind melding. Assuming, it doesn't have to be baseball. It could be a trivia about politics or something. I don't know, but whatever. I imagine it's about baseball, but we'll find out. So here's Rice, 1-9, and that is a single to right field for Jim Rice. Leadoff single. He's no threat to run, though. So he'll hold, and here comes Billy Buckner. Mr. Buckner hitting .258 on the replay, 3 homers, 20 driven in. He hit .286 real world. That's a 1. Chance of a wild pitch. DeLeon's wild pitch rating is a 6. And he uncorks one. So Rice will go to second. That eliminates the double play. And Buckner, definitely as slow as he is definitely apt to hit into some double plays. But unless it's a Lomax, that won't happen this time. But, of course, Lomax is possible. Got that on the 312. And we get a 3. Did I just say 312? Did I really just say 312? And then roll it? Did that really happen? I swear I said 312, and it just happened. It's a Lomax to second base plus an injury. So Buckner lines it to second. They throw the second baseman, Manrique, fields it and steps on the bag for an unassisted double play. Unbelievable. And now we're checking Buckner for an injury. Unbelievable. How did the dice know what I was talking about? All right, let's put this in the computer before I get going with anything else. So it's going to be a 4 and then a 4 unassisted double play. 2 quick outs. 1-4, Buckner can stay in the game. 5 or higher, he's got to come out. So he's got to come out. Buckner is going to have to leave the game. And the Red Sox will go to a backup first baseman. It might have to be Dwight Evans because I don't know if there's anybody else to play first base. They got Ed Romero. Yeah, we're going to put Ed Romero because I want to save Evans to play the outfield if he can do it. So we're going to have Ed Romero come in and play first base. He's a 4E25, which Buckner was a 4E13. So now that I got my good correction tape, let's go ahead and get this corrected and up to date. So it's a 4E25, and it's going to be Romero now. Romero will be the first baseman after the injury to Buckner. So Ed Romero. Romero comes in to play first base in the 3rd inning for Buckner. All right. So 2 outs, base is clear now for Rich Gedman. Hello, Jeremiah. I know a lot of people don't like Mondays. I know I used to not like Mondays at all. I don't mind Mondays now, obviously, but I feel your pain, as a former president once said. Here's Rich Gedman. He's hitting 175 on the replay. No homers, 5 driven in. Hit 205 real world. 2-8, and that's a fly to right field, and that's going to do it as the right fielder Williams puts it away, and that's going to end the inning. So a leadoff base hit, but the double play Lomax takes care of that. After 2 complete, the score is Boston 1, Chicago nothing. Now, if you will turn your attention to the chat for Miss Kathy Harden, she does have a trivia question for us. So put your thinking caps on and get ready. Whenever you are ready, Miss Harden, you can go ahead. How long would it take to fall straight to Earth core? Maybe I'm kind of. How long would it take to fall straight to Earth's core? How many minutes? Wow, that's out of the blue there. Anybody have any kind of? I have no guess. I have no idea. I don't know what the mileage is or the. Jeremiah says 27 minutes. Hey, that's as good a guess as anything I know of. I'm not a science person necessarily, so I don't know anything about the. I don't remember what the radius of the Earth is or how far it is from the surface to the core. I don't know, and then the velocity of gravity or whatever. That's a good question. Bart, I'm assuming she's saying if you were on the surface of the Earth and there was like a big hole and you fell to the core. I'm guessing that's what she's talking about. But I could have been misinterpreting that. Between 15 to 20. Wow, Tim, that's good knowledge out. I had no idea what the I'm sure back in school I probably learned it back in the dark ages, but who knows? It's between 15 to 20. So you got your guesses there. You can go anywhere from 15 to 20. Go to the midpoint 17, or you can work your way one side or the other. Any guess, any number I put up there would just be a pure guess. So I'm not sure I want to guess. So I don't know what the distance is. If anybody's, and as Jeffrey Goodman used to say, no Googling. 19 long minutes. Okay. And I'm sure it would not be a pleasant thing because I'm assuming the core of the Earth is molten lava and whatnot. So once you arrived, you wouldn't stay there long. You'd be consumed, I imagine. Probably be consumed on the way down because it'd be so hot there. But very intriguing question there. Thank you, Kathy, for that. All right, we will move on to the top of the third. And we're going to have Ozzie Guillen lead things off. I don't know, Jeremiah. I'd stop somewhere for coffee, though, if I could. All right. So Ozzie Guillen hitting 248 on the replay, a homer and 11 driven in. He hit 279 real world. 1-0 Boston, top of the third. 4-4 lefty. It's a ground ball third base, actually. We're looking at Wade Boggs. First X check of the game. Boggs is a 2E16. 2 and a 12, he'll get to that. Now we're just looking at the E16, and that's an 8. E16. There's a 7, but there's no 8. So good play for Wade Boggs. And in case you're curious, the 2 and the 12 is a G1. Nobody's on base, so it really doesn't matter. It's just a 5-3 ground out. 5-3 ground out, and this will bring up Ken Williams. Ken Williams is 1 for 8 on the season. He's a recent call-up. 1 for 8. He's hitting $125. He had 281 real world with 11 home runs, but that was in 391 at bats. So his season's just getting started. So he's just getting warmed up. 6-3, and he's going to strike out. So Bob Stanley, second strikeout of the game. There's a dot there, but of course, we're only in the third inning. His fatigue is the 6th. So no danger of a dot there messing him up. Here's Daryl Boston. Struck out his first time up. 5-5, and he will fly to center field for Ellis Burks. So how about that? Bob Stanley, 3 shutout innings thrown at the White Sox. Pretty good deal there for Bob Stanley. Much better than what he usually does on his replay. And we go to the bottom of the third. Due up for Boston will be the number 9 hitter, little Spike Owen. Shortstop. Owen on the replay hitting 175. A homer and 3 driven in. He had 259 real world, so he's got to pick it up a bit. 6-5 switch hitter, and he won't do it here. That's a fly to center for Daryl Boston. 1 down. And here is Ellis Burks, top of the order. He struck out his first chance, the only strikeout for DeLeon so far. 3-5, and that's a ground ball to short. Handled by Guillen, 2 away. All right, we got a question on the top of the 4th. So, again, get your thinking caps on after this half inning. Marty Barrett will step to the plate. Barrett singled and scored the only run of the game. 2-9, but he won't do it here. He's going to pop it up to second, and Manrique is there. And so at the end of 3 complete, it is Boston 1, Chicago nothing. Pitching duel going on here at Fenway, which was definitely unexpected. No question about it. All right, so we're going to the top of the 4th, but before we do, Miss Kathy has a trivia question for you guys. So pay attention to the screen and see if you can figure out what kind of answer you need for this trivia question. In 1934, who became first athlete to appear on a Wheaties box? Wheaties box 1934. Wouldn't be Jesse Owens, would it? I don't know if they would put him on a Wheaties box back then. With the way the culture was back then, they may not have done that. They're saying Babe Ruth, so he's probably right with Babe Ruth. Close. Well, if it's close to Ruth, it should be Lou Gehrig, I would think. Owens was the 36 Olympics. Okay, gotcha. If it's not Ruth, then it's probably going to be Gehrig then. But we shall see. Maybe it's not Gehrig. Maybe it's somebody else. Oh, Bart got it. All right, Bart with Lou Gehrig. Very good. Excellent question. I didn't realize Wheaties went back that far, but obviously they did. And I was a little bit premature with my Jesse Owens. I was 2 years ahead of it. I knew it was in the 30s. I just didn't know exactly what year. But yeah, it makes sense now because of the timing of World War II and all that. So, all right. So Bob Stanley. Thank you, Kathy, for that. Appreciate that. Don't know where you come up with all these questions or how you think of them, but they're good. All right, so here's Fred Manrique. Manrique line to short his first time up. It's a 2-8, and that's a ground ball to short. So instead of line it to Spike Owen, he grounds it to Spike Owen. Same result. We get an out to lead off the inning. And Bob Stanley has done that. All 4 innings, he's gotten the leadoff man out, which certainly helps the cause. Here's Harold Baines. 1-7 for Baines. He will fly to center. Ellis Burks is there. And for Ellis Burks, that is his 3rd putout in 4 innings in center field. Here's Greg Walker. Oh, he did, Tim? Okay, thank you. I wouldn't have known that, but it just seemed to make sense, but I was just a little bit ahead of myself, that's all. Here's Walker, 6'10", catcher X. We're looking at Gedman. He's a 3E15, but nobody's on base, so there can't be any pass balls or wild pitches. 3-19 is probably going to be a foul out of some kind. Let's take a look here. 3-19. No, it's actually going to be a ground out G2. That's a 7, but he's an E15, so that might give him some problems. It does not. E15, 11, 15, 3, and 18. No 7. So it will be a ground out 2-3 to end the inning. And again, Bob Stanley, 4 solid shutout innings. What's got into Bob Stanley? What's going on here? Or maybe what's wrong with the White Sox? Why aren't they pummeling Bob Stanley like everybody else has? It's all what the dice bring forth. All right, here's Wade Boggs. He singled his first time up. 6-6, and this time he's going to strike out. Strikeout number 2. For Boggs. And of course, I got potential spam chiming in. That's always a nice thing to have. It's nice when it comes up on the phone that it says potential spam. I just swipe it and be done with it. All right. So which makes me glad I'm not using my phone anymore to record because that would have bumped me off the stream. All right, here's Don Baylor. 2-9, and he's going to ground it to short. Ozzie Guillen is there, so both pitchers seem to be in a groove, not letting Fenway Park deter them. Here's Greenwell. Didn't do a double play last time. 6-11. That's a ballpark single. That's almost a guarantee. 1-19. And Greenwell will take advantage of Fenway Park's generosity with the base hit. 2-out single for Greenwell. Let's see. I'm not really thinking he would. Well, he might. With 2 outs, you might think about trying to get him. So, 6 or 7, he gets the lead. 11, he's picked off. And look at that. Do you believe that? Try to get Mike Greenwell a stolen base because he probably, I'm sure he had a couple of them in real world. And he rolls an 11 to get picked off. Unbelievable. These dice are something else. So picked him off. And that'll end the inning. But trying to get in scoring position with 2 outs, probably not too bad of a move, but just didn't work out here. So we go to the 5th, and it is still 1-0 Boston, and Kathy has a question at the top of the 6th. So you got a couple innings to get your mind right on what you might think it might be. Here's Carlton Fisk. Fisk singled for the only hit of the game for the White Sox. 2-6, and this time he's going to ground it to Spike Owen. 1 away. Brings up Jerry Hairston. He flew to center his first time up. 3-7, he's going to strike out. That is strikeout number 3 for Bob Stanley. And that'll bring up Tim Hewlett. Now, I seem to remember, like I said, my memory is not always the greatest in the world. There was either a hardware store or a hardware brand of tools named Stanley. And their catchphrase was, Stanley helps you do things right. So I'm not sure if it's a tool or if it was a chain or whatever. But I seem to remember that from the 80s. Every time I think of Bob Stanley, I think of that little jingle. I told you, weird things come to my head. All right. So do they make tools? Okay. That's what I thought. That's what Stanley helps you do things. So Stanley is helping the Red Sox do things right now. That's for sure. 6-7, and that is a 1-12 single. That's a 4. It's a base hit, 2-out single for Hewlett. Only the second hit of the game for the White Sox against Mr. Stanley. Hewlett will not go anywhere, and here comes Ozzie Guillen. Guillen grounded to Boggs his first time up. That's a 5-5. Left-hand is a fly to center. And again, Ellis Burks with another put out. And that's going to end the inning. So how do you like that? Bob Stanley, 5 shutout frames, pitching a 2-hitter. 2-hit shutout through 5 innings. Who would have thought that? But that's why you play 9 innings, folks, because Bob Stanley's not going to keep that up. So, hello, Robert, RJL Network. Check out his wonderful channel. He is in the house, as they say. He of the inside pitch fame. But I think when this inside pitch off season is occurring, which will happen shortly, he'll be doing some Batman Arkham and some other kind of non-sports type streaming. So check that out. Of course, his selection show for the next season is always a crowd favorite. All right, here's Jim Rice. He singled but was doubled off by Bill Buckner in his first at bat. 5-8, and that's a strikeout for DeLeon. Strikeout number 3 for Mr. DeLeon. And that'll bring up Billy Buckner. I'm sorry, it can't be Buckner because he got hurt. It's Ed Romero took his place at first base. I just never moved Buckner's card for whatever reason. And I never did that in the computer either, so let me do that. So Romero is your new first baseman after Buckner hit that Lomax with an injury. So Romero on the replay hitting 308. No homers, 8 driven in. Hit 272 real world. It's a 1-6, and he's going to ground it to third. Tim Hewlett is there. And there's 2 away. Pitching duel at Fenway. And this is not Roger Clemens against Floyd Bannister either. This is Jose DeLeon and Bob Stanley. Here's Gedman, 5-5, fly to left. That's going to do it. Left fielder Jerry Hairston puts it away at the end of 5 complete. It is still 1-0 favor of the Boston Red Sox. Who would have thought that? And now we have to put, I got to put on the computer, I need to put Romero in at first base. So the computer likes that, and it does. All right, so we've got a question from Kathy again, top of the 6th. So put your thinking caps on, and she will give us a trivia question for the top of the 6th. Could be baseball related, could be anything related. All right, here it is. Wait for it. What 2 pitchers who were teammates were the first to both have 300-plus strikeouts in the same season? Okay. Interesting. I'm not sure Drysdale or Koufax got to 300 strikeouts in one season. They may have, but that's the first one that came to my mind, but I know that's not right. So it's probably somebody else. 300 strikeouts in the same season. I'm sure Koufax did. I don't think Drysdale ever hit 300. Carlton and Gibson's a good guess. Ryan Tanana is a wild guess, but viable. I don't think Tanana ever got to 300 though. Let's see, teammates. 300 plus strikeouts in the same season. Wow. Yes, Kathy, that would be a good clue. See if it's going to be something that's recent or something we got to go way back for. A year or at least a decade or something might help. The year itself, 2002. Okay. 2002. Not Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling. Oh, I'm thinking Pedro Martinez and whoever was in Boston, but Johnson and Schilling were my first thoughts. Okay. Johnson and Schilling. Okay, cool. I thought Pedro might for the Red Sox, but I couldn't think of another Red Sox pitcher that would have 300 strikeouts. So very, very good. That's the follow-up year to their World Series 2001. So 2002, 300 strikeouts for both Schilling and midlife, which Sox are you going for? Are you going for the red ones or the white ones? That's the question. Oops, not DeLeon. Should be Bob Stanley. So this is Bob Stanley's fatigue inning, top of the 6th. DeLeon's fatigue doesn't start until the 7th. All right. So me and Tim got it. Okay, cool. With a little help, obviously. As the Beatles once sang, get Bob with a little help from your friends. All right, here's Ken Williams. 4-6 from Stanley. Struck him out. There's a dot there, but he has not reached fatigue yet. So that is the 4th strikeout for Bob Stanley. Oops. Bob Stanley. Incredible. Pitching the game of the year for him. Here's Darryl Boston. He's 0 for 2. 6-7, and that's a single. So Boston gets a 1-out single, and he may be looking to run, although it is a -4 on the hold, so it'll be a -6. It'd only be a 1-9, so I think they're going to hold him there. So, all right, Kathy, I'll regard the this and disregard the that. How about that? Or play on words. Here's Manrique. 1-7, struck him out. Again, another strikeout. Strikeout number 5 for for Stanley, rather. 2 down. I already know in advance I will be taking a 7th inning stretch break because my coffee has gotten a little cooler and I need to warm it up. And that's a good excuse to do it during the 7th inning stretch. All right, here's Harold Baines. Baines is 0 for 2. 5-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. That is the shortstop Owen, and he is responsible for holding Daryl Boston, so he will go to a 4E17 because he is responsible. So he is now a 4E17. 4 and 18, though, not going to make a difference. 318, 418 is one and the same, pretty much. G1 all the way around. That's a 9. Well, there are already 2 outs, so you can't have a double play. That's a 9. He's an E17. E17, there's no 9, so it's a good play for Spike Owen. Retiring that Hall of Famer Baines to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 6th, and Stanley is going to keep some endurance going into the 7th. Still 1-0 Boston. That run in the 1st has held up. Now in the bottom of the 6th, it'll be Spike Owen, who just made that nice play on defense. He will lead off. 2-10, and that is a line out to first base. Snagged by Walker. 1 away. And that brings up Ellis Burks. Burks is 0 for 2. 4-10, and that's an in-home run chance, 1-12. Devil dies in 11. It fits. Ellis Burks will go deep for the Red Sox. His 3rd home run of the season on the replay. RBI number 9. It's a solo home run. Makes it 2-0 Boston. Burks had 20 home runs on the season. This is home run number 3 and run batted in number 9. And Boston leads at 2-0 now. Here's our Marty Barrett. That's a 6-7, and that's a walk. Barrett walks. Could try to steal again. Needs a 4 to get that good lead. Cannot get it, so he will hold. And that'll bring up Wade Boggs. Whoa. I'm going to do something. That was a miss roll, obviously, because it got hung up there. I'm going to do a strategy I've not done all season, and I hate the strategy, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because. I never, ever do a hit and run, but I'm going to do a hit and run right now because Barrett is being held on. That's going to make Boggs an A hit and run person on this result. So on the super advanced hit and run, I haven't done, so I got to recheck the rules on this, but I believe if I roll a 1, 2, or 3, we go to the hit and run chart. If it's 4, 5, or 6, we go off the pitcher card. So that's what we're going to, first of all, we're going to do. We already did the strategy roll for the steal. So it is going to be a hit and run. Like I said, mark it on your calendars. This is the first hit and run I've ever done in Stratomatic that I know of. So here we go. It's a 2-8, so we're going to the hit and run chart. Super advanced hit and run chart. He is an A, so it was a ground ball, second base, C. So he's going to ground ball to second base. It'll get the runner to second rather, with 2 outs. So that didn't really, that's why I don't do hit and runs. You can see that now. That's one of the reasons why I don't do them. But oh well. Can't say I haven't tried one. Now I've tried one. So there you go. Thank you for a confirmation on that, Tim. Like I said, I haven't done it before, so I had to make sure I knew what I was doing. Jeremiah, I looked at Boggs' card. He was a hit and run B, but with them holding the runner on, he became an A. So like Tim says, it's just a feel for it to see if you can do it. It did get the runner. I mean, you could say maybe he saved a double play chance by moving the runner early. I mean, you could say it took a hit from Boggs. I mean, there's all kinds, you could go both ways on that. So 2 outs and Barrett at second base. And I don't think Barrett's being held on. No, he's not. All right, so Baylor now your batter. DeLeon trying to get out of this. 4-8, and he will not. 1-15 is a double. That's a 6. It's a double, 2 stars. So that did get the run home by doing the hit and run. It did put him at second base where he could score on this 2-star double. So you can look at it either way about being good or bad, but Baylor with an RBI double. And that's going to make it 3-0 now, Red Sox. And here's Mike Greenwell. DeLeon may be needing some relief here very shortly. 5-8, left-handed struck him out. That's going to end the inning. But 2 runs for the Red Sox, a Burks home run and then a Baylor double. Makes it 3-0 Boston after 6. And who'd have thunk it, Bob Stanley be having a 3-0 lead going to the top of the 7th. I don't think anybody's had that one on their pool. All right, Greg Walker. Greg Walker, 0 for 2. 1-4, and that's a ballpark blast for Greg Walker. It's a 1-7. That's a 6. It's gone. The shutout has been everted. Greg Walker. Look at it again, 1-4. The diamond shot right there. Fenway Park 1-7, and the Devil Dies a 6. So a home run for Greg Walker. For Walker, his 4th home run of the replay, RBI number 15, cuts the lead to 3-1. And now the Red Sox bullpen might start to stir if Stanley starts to fade. It could be tiring. Here's Carlton Fisk. 5-8. That's a pop up to third. Gets him to pop it up to Boggs. 1 away. Here is Jerry Hairston. We are in the 7th inning, so pinch hitting is allowed, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with who they got so far. Not going to make any changes yet. 4-8, and that's a 1-19 double. So a double for Jerry Hairston. And now the tying run is at the plate in Tim Hewlett. Red Sox bullpen starting to stir. Looks like Stanley is starting to lose it a bit. So we'll go to the bullpen and see who's available and who's got the most rest and so forth. Steve Crawford is always available. Wes Gardner. They do have lefty Bolton. Let's see, the White Sox have Hewlett and Guillen coming up. They're going to let Stanley pitch to Hewlett. Tom Bolton, the lefty in the bullpen, ready for Ozzie Guillen if it gets to that. So Stanley to Hewlett. Whoa, we got a hopping dice. Let's re-roll that. 6-8, and that's a single to center field. Hairston doesn't run all that well, so with being down by 2, they will hold him at third base, but that's going to be it for Bob Stanley. Bob Stanley's day is done. He was going so well, but now he's officially fatigued, and so they will make the move to the bullpen for the left-hander, Tom Bolton. Tom Bolton. Left-hander, Tom Bolton. No relation to Michael Bolton, but Tom Bolton. 1-0 with a 4.38 earned run average. So Tom Bolton. And he's a -1, which makes him a -2 on the hold. So let's get the numbers on Bolton. Can't do the numbers yet on Stanley because he's got people on base that he is responsible for. He can win it, but he can't lose it. The worst he could do is a no decision. So Bolton coming on. You're in the top of the 7th, and Bolton on the replay, no wins or losses, no saves, 5.40 earned run average, 10 innings pitched, 11 hits, 5 walks, 11 strikeouts. He had a 4.38 earned run average real world. So he's in there against Ozzie Guillen, lefty on lefty, with runners at the corners and 1 out. Infield looking for the double play. Hewlett not being held. The infield is looking back for that double play. 3-10, and that's a ground ball pitcher A. There you go. Brilliant managing, bringing in Tom Bolton to force the left-handed side and get that ground ball pitcher A. It's a 1-6-3 double play to get out of the inning. And we can cap Stanley at 6 1/3, giving up the 1 run, which was earned. But it will be a 1-6-3 double play. And now we'll get the numbers on Stanley to finish off his day. Stanley, 6 1/3, 6 hits and a run, no walks and 5 strikeouts. Easily his best game of the season, no question about it. 3-1 Red Sox. As we head to the bottom of the 7th, it will be the fatigue inning for Jose DeLeon, where he'll be facing Rice, Romero. Hello, Joel. Good to see you. But we are at the 7th inning stretch, and I need to heat my coffee, so natural progression of things sends us to take me out to the ball game just to have some filler while I heat my coffee. Full disclosure, that's what it's all about. All right, go heat my coffee. You guys can enjoy. Take me out to the ball game. All right, and we are back for the bottom of the 7th. Fatigue inning check for Jose DeLeon. He's going to be facing Jim Rice to lead things off. Rice is singled and struck out 1 for 2 on the replay. All right, 4-8 against a right-hander, and that's trouble for DeLeon. 1 to 15 is a double. Double dies a 1, so Jim Rice a leadoff double, and now the White Sox might be looking to get their bullpen going. Comes Ed Romero. His second at bat since taking over for the injured Buckner. He grounded to third his first time up. Rice not being held at second. 3-10, and that is a single, 2 stars. That'll score the run. And now that might be it for DeLeon. He just seems to have he was pitching so well, same as Mr. Stanley, but he seems to be, going along the wayside here. So with the lefty coming up, the White Sox, I believe, are going to go to a lefty out of their bullpen. And that the only lefty they have, I think it's the only lefty they have. Let me double check it here. Now they got 2 left-handers. They got Ray Searage and Joel McKeon. Searage is the better of the relievers, but he may be overused, so we need to make sure we're not overusing Ray Searage. Oh, Joel McKeon's been the one overused, so it's going to be Searage. I don't know why every time I see his name I think of sewage, but it's Ray Searage, not sewage. Ray Searage, the left-hander. And he's got a -5 hold, so that will certainly help. Not that Boston's going to do a lot of running, but still nice to have. And Rich Gedman, the batter, against Ray Searage. Searage on the replay, 1-1, no saves, 3.52 earned run average. 15 innings pitched, 20 hits. 7 walks, 7 strikeouts. He had a 4.20 ERA real world, so he's almost a point better than that, about 0.75 better than that. So Romero at first, and I don't think he's no threat to steal at all, so he will not be held. And here's Rich Gedman. Nothing on the havoc. 4-1 Red Sox, bottom of the 7th. Whoa, we got hopping dice. Boy, these things are just hopping all over the place. 6-9, lefty on lefty. That's a pop out to first base. He'll get Gedman for one away. Here comes Spike Owen, switch hitter. Will now turn around, bat right-handed. 1-9, and he's going to get a single, 1 star. And that will be all for Searage. Searage goes a third of an inning, faces 2 batters. Gives up a hit. Nothing else. He is responsible for that runner, so can't fill out everything on him. But with Ellis Burks coming up, the White Sox will go to a right-hander out of the bullpen. And I believe it'll be Jimmy Wynn, but let me double-check that. See, make sure Wynn is not overworked. He's at 118%. James is 118%. Thigpen is at 107%. We're actually going to bring in Thigpen. So Bobby Thigpen will be coming on for the White Sox, future closer of theirs. He kind of split time with Bob James in 1987 with closing. He was 7.5 with a 2.73 earned run average real world. Thigpen. -4 hold. So Thigpen on the replay, 2-1 with 6 saves and a 3.22 earned run average. 22 innings pitched, 21 hits, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts. Ellis Burks, who homered his last time up, for 7, and that is a 1-16 single. Double Die shows up as a 3. It's a 1 star, so it's going to load the bases. Bases are loaded now with 1 out for Marty Barrett. Red Sox threatening to blow this game wide open. Infield playing for the double play. They need the double play. Get out of the inning. That's a 5-5. That's a ground ball, second base C. They won't do it. That's going to be a ground out that's going to score the run. RBI ground out. Run scores. And it's now 5-1. And they will walk Boggs intentionally. That's the reason why they played the infield back for the double play. They really didn't want to get a force at the plate and have to deal with Boggs with the bases loaded. That was the reason behind it. But all right, I think I am back. I think we're finally back. If I'm not mistaken. I believe we are finally back here. At least I believe so. Looks like we're back. All right. So I don't pay attention. Hello, Bart. I didn't even see that was happening. I just kept playing, so I'm not sure how much you guys saw or what the last thing you guys saw were on the game, but I'll recap the inning. DeLeon gave up a double to Rice and a single to Romero, so I removed him for Ray Searage. Searage got Edmond to pop to first, but then he gave up a single to Spike Owens, so I took Searage out, brought Thigpen in. Thigpen gave up a single to Burks to load the bases. Barrett came up with 1 out, bases loaded, infield double play depth, would roll a ground ball C to score the run. We intentionally walked Boggs to load the bases again, and Don Baylor struck out to end the inning. So hopefully, like I said, I don't know how much of that you guys actually saw, but that's what really happened. So we're ready for the top of the 8th with a 5-1 Red Sox lead. Tom Bolton only faced the 1 batter and got a double play out of it, so he's definitely back to pitch the top against Ken Williams. 5-6, and that's going to be a leadoff walk. Endear you to your manager walking the leadoff man up with a 5-1. Could steal, but it wouldn't be shit for Boston. I think it's almost a guarantee that they will. Daryl Boston will be lifted for pinch hitter Gary Reedus, and Reedus will stay in the game, play center field in the bottom of the 8th. So Gary Reedus will pinch hit for Daryl Boston. Pinch hitting in the 8th inning, center field in the 8th inning. Gary Redus. Redus, 236 hitter, real world. Not sure what he was on the replay because I had to shut down everything, so my Stratomatic shut down. Means I got to re-enter all this in the computer, but that's no big deal. I can do that, no problem. Gary Redus with, actually I should have Williams was the walk, not, I messed that up. Williams is the walk, not Boston. So now the pinch hitter Redus with Williams at first base, nobody out. Tom Bolton. It's a 6-2, and that's a ballpark blast for Gary Redus. He's got normal power. It's a 1-10, but that's a 14. So that will just be a deep fly to left field for out number 1. But that certainly kind of shook up the Red Sox a little bit, thinking that was going to be a home run, but it wasn't. So here's Fred Manrique. He's 0 for 3. Do they pinch hit for Manrique? He was a 258 hitter, and he's right-handed. Not sure there's anything better on the White Sox bench, but we'll take a look. You do have Jerry Royster, I guess. You could go with Royster. He's a little bit better hitter, so we'll pinch hit for Manrique with Jerry Royster, and Royster will stay in the game, play second base in the 8th inning. So Jerry Royster gets a chance to swing the bat. Pinch hitting for Manrique. Royster, 265 hitter on the 87 season. Facing Bolton. It's a 6-5, and that's a fly ball to right. That's handled by Greenwell. 2 down for Harold Baines. Baines is 0 for 3. And he's a Hall of Famer, so you're not going to pinch hit for Harold Baines. My goodness. 5-8, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. Shortstop is Spike Owen, 3E14. 3-3, Devil Die shows up. Devil Die shows up, 3-13. I'm sorry, 3-3 rather. 3-3 is a single, 1 star. Going to second is, that's a 9, and Owens is an E17. I don't think there was a 9 there for that. Nope, 15, 16, 17, the only errors. So it's going to be a 1-star single for Harold Baines, puts runners at first and second with 2 outs for Greg Walker. And Calvin Schiraldi in the Red Sox bullpen is ready to face Fisk if Bolton can't get Walker. This is Bolton's last chance to get Greg Walker. Lefty on lefty matchup. First and second, 2 outs. 2-11 for Walker is a ballpark single check. That's a 1-19. That's a 10. It's going to be a single that loads the bases, and that's going to do it for Bolton. Bolton can't do it. And while Bolton's saying, "How am I supposed to live without you?" the other Bolton is being sung to by his manager, "How am I supposed to live with you?" So, reminds me of U2, with or without you. They can't live with or without Tom Bolton. They're going to Calvin Schiraldi. Try to get out of this and wrap things up and go for a 4-out save, which in 1987 was certainly nothing unusual about that. It's a +3 hold. Not that it necessarily matters. So he's going to be facing Carlton Fisk with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Clutch situation here for Fisk in a 5-1 game. In the clutch, he gains a hit on 112. Everywhere else, he is neutral. So 112, he gets the base hit. Everywhere else, he is neutral. Schiraldi against Fisk, bases loaded. Nobody being held on anywhere. They're all pretty, except for Williams, they're all pretty slow runners on the bases. Schiraldi, 4-6, struck him out. Schiraldi comes in and gets the job done and takes care of business and gets Bolton off the hook. Bolton will go an inning and a third He gives up a walk and 2 singles, but no runs. So we go to the bottom of the 8th. Thigpen still out there. He will face, in the bottom of the 8th, he will face Greenwell, Rice, and Romero. Still a 5-1 ball game. Oh, that white die didn't make it, so we're going to pull that. 3-7 for Greenwell. He flies to center. Boy, 3-6 would have been a home run, but 3-7 is a fly to center. 1 away for Jim Rice. 6-4, and that's a ground ball third base X. Hewlett is a 4E22. 4 and a 16, he will get to that. 4 and a 16 is a G2. That's a 14, and he is an E22. E22, and there's a 14 right there, smack dab in the middle of the 12, and the 16 is a 14, and that'll be a boot as Tim Hewlett makes a mess of that. 1 base error puts Rice on base with 1 out for Ed Romero. Thigpen not too happy about that. 1-5 for Romero, gets him to pop it up to second baseman, new second baseman Royster. 2 down for Rich Gedman. 3-10 for Gedman, and that's a walk. That'll take us to Spike Owen. 2 outs, 2 on. Switch hitter Spike Owen will turn around again and bat left-handed, going back and forth. He batted left-handed against DeLeon these 2 at-bats, turn around and bat right-handed against Searage in this at-bat. Now he's back to batting left-handed again. 5-7, and that's going to be a ground ball second base X. Jerry Royster. Hey, you bring a new defensive guy in, the ball will find you. Royster at second base is a 4E34, so not very good. Hopefully he gets a good role if you're a White Sox fan. Double die changed all that. 4 and a 3 just ended him right there. 4 and a 3 is a single 2 stars. That'll score a run. It's unearned because of the error previously on Hewlett. So it's a single. Gedman will take third. Now we're checking for an error. That's a 13, and he is an E. What did I say he was? An E24? E34. E34 and a 14. E34 and a 14. E34 is a 14 right there. So that'll be a 1 base error to add insult to the injury, and that means Gedman will come around and score based on that error. So 2 errors in the inning by the White Sox as they have fallen apart. 2 unearned runs come across the plate. It's now 7-1, but they're not going to bring another pitcher. It's Thigpen's got to get out of this. Oops. Thigpen needs to get out of this. That's all there is to it. That's a 2. So we're checking on the balk rating of Thigpen. And I don't even know what this balk rating is. Actually, I'm going to skip it. Well, you know what? It's 7-1. It doesn't matter. We're going to skip it. I don't have time to waste. 2-12, and that's a single to center field, but it's anti-clutch. So with a runner on second, that's going to turn this into a pop-up to short as we use the anti-clutch rule there on that 2-12. So 2 runs come in. It's now 7-1 Boston. And they are just laying waste to the Chicago White Sox. 2 unearned runs against Thigpen. Thigpen's going to go an inning and 2/3. He's going to have to do it manually since the computer got shut down. Let's see, 1 hit, 2 hits, 2 hits, 2 runs. They were not earned. A walk here, which is intentional. A walk here, it's 2 walks and a strikeout. So total of 12 hits I've got them for officially. And, of course, 2 errors all in the 8th inning. So we go to the 9th. Now a 7-1 ball game. Giraldi still can qualify for the save because when he came in, it was a 5-1 game with the bases loaded. So he does qualify for the save as long as he finishes out the game. Here's Hairston. 2-4, ground ball right back to Giraldi. one away for Timmy Hewlett. 4-8, and that's a strikeout for Schiraldi. Schiraldi's been solid. Here's Guillen. 2-4, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-19. That's a base hit for Guillen. And now we'll get a pinch hitter for Ken Williams. The White Sox will go to a left-hander off the bench. And it will be, let's see, or will they? Williams is a 281 hitter. The guys on the bench are awful. Might go ahead and stick with Williams because the lefty they have on the bench is just terrible. So we're going to stick with Williams. We're not going to make a move here. Williams is the best they have, so they're going to stick with Williams. All right. Schiraldi facing Williams. Try to wrap it up. 2-7, and he strikes out to end the ball game. And that will do it. The Boston Red Sox win this one 7-1. Bob Stanley gets the win. He goes to 2-3. DeLeon takes the loss, drops to 4-5. Schiraldi the save. Schiraldi ends up going an inning and a third, striking out 3, giving up the 1 hit, but that was it. So a total of 9 hits there. So there's your final line score for the Red Sox. 7 runs, 12 hits, and no errors. For the White Sox, 1 run, 9 hits, and 2 errors. Stanley, your winner, 2-3. DeLeon, your loser, 4-5. And I'm going to bring up the Strat computer real quick so I can give you the save total on Schiraldi and also the game for tomorrow in this 87 replay. It'll be game number 286. So let's go to the Red Sox team stats, and we'll see what they've got here for Calvin Schiraldi. Schiraldi came into the game 2-2 with an ERA of 6.11 and 2 saves, so he gets save number 3. Third save for Schiraldi. Red Sox improved to 17-25. White Sox dropped to 19-20, which is not good for the White Sox because they're trying to catch the Oakland A's and the Kansas City Royals in that American League Western Division. And with that loss, they will now drop to 2 games back of both Oakland and Kansas City. So they are 2 games back in the West. Boston's way out of it. Doesn't even matter for them. Next scheduled game on the replay as we go east to west. We're looking at a lot of games on the West Coast. So the next Eastern game, well, what's more east? Somebody give me a geography lesson real quick. Milwaukee or Minnesota? I'm thinking Milwaukee is further east than Minnesota. I'm thinking Minnesota is further west than that, if I remember my maps correctly. So with that being the case, we're looking at Cleveland at Milwaukee tomorrow. It'll be Ken Schramm against Teddy Higuera. Cleveland at Milwaukee will be the game tomorrow. Cleveland at Milwaukee to be game number 286 on the replay. Second game in the May 24th schedule. So I do appreciate all you guys joining me this Monday morning and getting through that internet debacle there for a little bit, sticking with me. Glad you came back. Enjoyed everybody's company. Enjoyed Kathy with her trivia questions. And it was a good game up until about the it was a good game through 5 innings, 1-0. Then Boston kind of started pulling away. But that can happen like that. You never know how things are going to turn out and how the dice are going to turn out. So tomorrow morning, Cleveland and Milwaukee. Schramm against Teddy Higuera. That'll be the game tomorrow morning. Tonight, I may or may not be on. I don't know. Usually I have my church group on Monday nights, every other Monday night, and this is the Monday night that comes up. And I don't get home from that until about 9 o'clock, so I don't know if I'm going to have time to get back, settle in, and do a game, but I might. And if I do, it's a demolition game between the Marlins and the Oakland Athletics. That'll be the game tonight if I play one. It will be the Demolition League, Miami and Oakland from Miami. It will be game number 37. Some guy named Max Meyer against some guy named Mitch Spence. Those are the two starting pitchers for those teams. Marlins 1-5, Oakland 4-3. That'll be tonight if I get a chance to play it. If not, I'll move it to tomorrow night. But for sure, tomorrow morning will be Cleveland and Milwaukee. So thank you all again for spending part of your Monday morning with me. Hope your week is off to a good start. Until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.